Hello guys, it has seriously been a while and I just want to let you know that by the time you watch this video, I will be all moved out of my apartment. It'll be the end, it's already been the end, I should say, of me living alone. Tonight is literally my last night in this apartment, and I'm honestly kind of really sad because I don't know, like, this was literally my space. It was literally my home, and, it was really nice not living with anyone. I'm not gonna lie about that, and I am gonna miss it, but I am welcoming my new life of having roommates again because I know they're definitely great people and it's gonna be fun. I am moving out and moving into a new place. I thought that I would actually do a guide of apartment hunting. This is the part 2 video, especially for those who are planning on living alone for the first time. First thing I want you to be aware of and know of is your budget. How much are you willing to spend? I just did some pretty basic, simple math. I knew that I wanted to make between $500 to $600 a week for Uber, and because there are 4 days of the week, not 4 days, 4 weeks in a month, I took the number 500, which is the amount that I make within a week, times 4, which is 4 weeks in a month, and I got the total of $2,000. And let's say if I wanted to make 600 instead of 500, that would put me out to about 2,400. This helps me get a picture of how much I can spend on rent. Realistic for me to spend between 800 to 1,200, and we're talking about the full total with including fees, utilities, all that jazz included, as 1,200. That is as much as I can spend on an apartment. I say that I was being realistic about this amount because we're talking about a 1-bedroom apartment, and also, like, I have to factor in groceries, car maintenance, as well as gas, doing Uber, the electricity bill, all the other factors inside of, also with rent, with how much can I afford. The next thing is to make a list of things in your apartment or studio that you want. So for my example, I wanted a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. A pool area would be nice. I also thought a balcony area would be really lovely, just so I can, go outside and have a little space where I can just chill and be in nature, pretty much enjoy the sun. I also wanted to live on the 2nd or 3rd floor. I didn't really care to live on the 1st floor. I also wanted free parking so that I don't have to pay for the parking fee, and if I have guests over, they don't have to worry about, figuring out what to do for parking and having to pay for parking as well while they're visiting me. And I also wanted a nice area where it's not too close to the city or extremely close by the highway, just because to me it tends to be a lot louder when you live in bigger streets. And I also wanted a washer and dryer, laundry unit in my apartment, and of course I wanted the essentials of a fridge, microwave, a AC, and also heating as well. Who doesn't want that in my apartment? And of course, if it was included Wi-Fi as well, perfect, literally perfect. But this could be different for you since we all have different wants and needs. Most people take in the consideration of, having a pet and making sure it's pet friendly and that they do allow pets and that they, are close to a park for their pets as well. We're moving on to the most exciting part, which is apartment hunting. So this is the part where you are going to be searching and figuring out where you want to live. I did online searching through Google. I just went through apartments.com, and you can basically type in the things that you are looking for, like 1-bedroom apartments, and you can also put in the city area that you are considering living in, as well as, how much you want to pay for rent. there is a total of how low you can pay for and how high you can afford for rent. Keep in mind that because I did Uber, I was able to have the freedom to basically choose a lot more options with whichever city that I wanted to live in. And I definitely took advantage of that to see, you know, what are the different cities that I could possibly live in within my state, which is Colorado. Things that I do want you to keep in mind while you are doing your online I definitely search. Want you to look at the ratings of the apartment complex because, you know, I'm not gonna lie, that is important to see what kind of, you know, what are you getting yourself into pretty much. I also want you to look at the reviews from previous tenants and please take them into consideration. You don't have to look through all of the reviews, but do look you know, throughout the first 2 pages and really take in their consideration because they are being honest with you. I mean, some of them can be a bit dramatic, I'm not gonna lie, but if you keep seeing a repeating cycle of the same thing, that's a red flag. I think one of the biggest ones was that there was this apartment complex that I thought was extremely pretty because I was just looking through the pictures and the town was super nice and I was really considering it. But by the time that I started reading about the reviews from the tenants, that's when I noticed a line of bug problems, should I say. Basically, they're just having problems with, you know, having cockroaches around the apartment area, and to me that's just a big no-no. I do not do cockroaches. Like, to me they're freaking scary. So yeah, definitely do take that in mind. Look at the availability of the apartment because, you know, you want to know when it's available and when you can move in and things like that. Knowing the price tag online is just for the apartment. Keep that in mind. It's just for the apartment. That doesn't include fees, the utilities, or anything. And the price can also change when you decide to call the leasing office or go visit them too, because prices just vary depending from, I would say, weekly basis. I mentioned this earlier, but please look at all the pictures that you are given online, whether it be on the apartments.com or actually even looking into their actual website. Please look at all of them because that's going to really give you a feel of if you are going to like living in this place or not. And, you know, you can also see what the apartment complex offers outside of your apartment, like a pool area, a park, a biking area or trails to run and things like that, and even like a gym or a laundry unit as well too, for like community purposes, I guess, if they don't have laundry units within the apartment complex. I will say, the nicer the place is, the more likely that you're gonna have to pay a lot more for your rent, just so you know that. I mean, I feel like it's a fair game just because, you know, usually when it's the nice ones, they do offer you a lot more, like the pool area I mentioned, and also even like having a bar or lounge area as well, like study area too. And they usually have their own gyms too, where, you know, they're tenants, I guess, can, you know, go and have a gym membership there as well. I will suggest you this, that if you can search and go find the fees for the apartment complex, I would highly recommend it. Sometimes it will show you below as you're scrolling through apartments.com, but other times it won't tell you, in that it tells you to go call the leasing office or the landlord about the fees and things like that, just so that they know you're really interested in the spot that you're looking for. I recommend this because if you can find it online, this gives you such a better idea of, you know, of an estimate of how much you are going to be paying to live at this apartment complex. I mean, don't take it that this is going to be your full amount that you're going to be paying for, but it is definitely a good estimate of what could possibly be the outcome of what you're going to be paying because for. I was an Uber driver and I didn't really have to take into consideration of how far I was from work and things like that. I know that not everyone is in my shoes, and that, you know, there are factors with, you know, being close to work and, to the grocery stores or even the gyms if you have an active lifestyle, or even just places to eat at or entertainments, or, I mean, even being close to the airport, I know those factors definitely weigh for people as well. And I will put that on the list because, that is important that, if you need to be close to somewhere or if you want to be close to somewhere, that is definitely a good way to, filter out the apartment that you would like to live in or the city that you would like to live in as well. If you see what you like on this online hunt search journey, I guess, this is a time where you want to make sure to write down the name of the apartment complex, their phone number, their address, and the times the leasing office is open. That way, you can call them if you decide to schedule a tour and things like that with them. As well as you can also continue searching to keep creating your list if you would like to. Seriously, put as many apartments as much as you want on your list. I mean, for me, you don't have to go, I would say, beyond 20. That's because that is a lot, unless you really love apartment hunting and you're really interested in that many apartments, then all kudos to you. But for me, like, I would say a good list for mine at least was between, I would say, 10 to 15. That was how many apartments that I looked through last year when I was apartment searching. Once you are done, go back to your list and review each of the apartments again to see what is realistic for you, like what is affordable. Does it meet the things that you want within the apartment and within the area? Is it far from work, from gyms, from grocery stores, from the airport? Any place that you want to be closer to. There are places that you decide it's not a good or realistic fit for you. Go ahead and cross it off your list because, you don't need to waste your time on that, or even bother, scheduling a tour with them. You are truly considering, go ahead and make the phone call and schedule a tour with them. Let them know you're interested. Let them know what you are interested as well. And, leave down your name and, of course, your phone number so that, you can work something out with the leasing office pretty much. And make sure that you choose a time that you are available and you're available for a pretty good amount of time because, you don't want to just rush through this apartment hunt. I mean, not just hunts, but you don't want to rush through this apartment tour because it is important for you to be able to, get a really good perspective and a good idea of what you're getting yourself into. Now we have reached tour time, which is honestly another exciting part of the journey. Before the tour, I want you to make a list on your phone of the things that you are looking for and the things that you want to know. That way you can take note of everything and during the tour to make sure that you don't skip anything that is important for you to know. From my list when I was apartment touring is number 1 is how much is rent, number 2, what are the fees and how much are they, number 3, how much is utilities and is it included in rent. That means the big number that they show you, is it included in that number or is it completely separate. I also want to know about parking. I want to know about the Wi-Fi. I want to know about the heating and the AC, as well as is there a washer and dryer, that means laundry unit, included in my apartment. I also want to know when can I move in and how long is the lease. And my final one is there a move-in special discount? Please ask them this question because sometimes leasing offices will not mention this at all because they're just trying to get a deal. They're trying to seal a sale pretty much. And, it doesn't hurt to ask because that is how I actually got offers from a few apartment complexes when I was apartment hunting as well. So don't be afraid to ask that question. Yours could be longer and that is completely okay because you know, you need to know what you are getting yourself into. Like, don't be afraid to ask as many questions as much as you want, because, you know, this is a huge responsibility. It is a big deal, and it is a huge investment. So it is your money. The reason why I recommend having a list is because it literally helps you go in a lot more prepared, and that way you don't skip anything that is important that you really need to know. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not really a fan of after touring and then, you know, calling them back or emailing them, like asking those questions. Like, I'd rather just know on the spot. That way I can just get my answers right then and there and not waste my time. Now, this is the advice for during the tour. Be on time. If you're running late or just, you know, running into traffic, call them ahead of time so that the leasing office knows that you're not just blowing them off. Like, you're just in traffic and you're just going to be a few minutes late. Just a sign of decency and respect, honestly, because, I mean, for me, I mean, I don't like being left not knowing, so I can definitely understand where they're coming from, especially if, you know, they're trying to make a sales and whatnot and make a deal with you. And at the end of the day, like, this is business we're talking about, so show them that, you know, you are a decent human being. Once you finally make it in there, let them know who you are clearly and what you're here for. Pretty much let them know what you want. And this is optional. If you want, you can actually bring a notebook and pen with you, but if you don't want to be that person, you can also use your phone to take notes too. I mean, for me, it's one or the other, just depends on the day, but this just helps you take notes and have your list prepared for all the questions that you want to ask. The gist while you are talking to the leasing consultant. Be present, listen carefully, ask some questions if you have any, and, you know, especially for things that they haven't mentioned, definitely don't be afraid to ask them during the very end. So during this whole time of the tour, whether you are talking to them or already getting up and walking around to look at the place and stuff, I want you to make sure that you really feel out the vibe of the leasing office and the people you're surrounded by in the apartment, just to get a good feel of, you know, does this place seem a bit hostile, or is it more open and freeing in a sense? And of course, don't be afraid to ask about security and safety, how it is in the area, because I think it's super important for your own being that you are living in a safe environment and that you're not just living in some weird, sketchy place. Honestly, I mean, at least for me as a woman, I don't feel safe when I'm around a sketchy area. So that's just from my perspective. Another thing is also asking about maintenance. This is key because this lets you know, like, how things are going to work around in your apartment. Let's say if things are not going so smoothly, like, what are some things that you can put on request for maintenance, and also, you know, like, being aware and being knowledgeable of how the maintenance goes, because a lot of the times nowadays, like, you don't just call them to put in a maintenance order. Most of the time, I guess, I wouldn't say most of the time, but I feel like most apartment places now are switching to online maintenance orders, so that you just either you email or you go through their apartment portal and you just put in a maintenance work through that. And also it gives you an idea too of, like, you know, how long is it for them to get to you and actually fix, you know, the thing that needs to be fixed within your apartment. Now we are at the after tour, which this is one of the most biggest moments of your life. I'm just kidding, maybe not the biggest. Of course, make sure you thank them during this time, because they have been spending, you know, the time to answer all your questions and just basically working with you throughout this tour. I normally don't make a deal right then and there, just because I like to keep my options open and I like to take the time to process everything and, you know, take some time before I make a big decision about this, because honestly, signing a lease is a really huge deal. Ready right then and there, by all means, like, go for it. Do not let me stop you. Like, to take the time to digest everything and be able to have options, like I've mentioned. If you are like me, you can let them know you need some time to think about everything, and you will get back to them. If you are interested, that is. I will say that usually by the end of the tour, I can tell if I'm feeling the offer or not. I normally will give the whole tour a rating on my notes so that I know how I felt about the place as I'm touring other places and keeping my options open as well. And of course, if you are like me, you know, and you're not feeling the place, you can still be nice and let them know that you need to take some time to, you know, process everything to make a decision. Or you can be real blunt with them and let them know that, you know, you're just not interested in the deal, and thank you so much for your time, pretty much, and I hope you have a good day. Is always a great way to end things, I guess, end the deal. Now it is the big moment of making the decision. This is the most critical yet exciting part of the process, because this is the final step pretty much. What I would suggest is to make a pros and cons list of all the apartments that you are considering. Usually by this point, there's about 2 to 3 apartments left that I'm considering. So, but if there's more for you, that's totally okay. Like, just make sure that you have the list for each and every one of them that you are considering. In this process, I want you to pick out 3 of your top priorities from your wants and needs list. An example from me is that I wanted the total cost of everything. We're talking about the rent, utilities, fees, Wi-Fi, everything for the whole entire cost to live at that apartment. I also factored in, like, how far are places from me? Or, you know, like, how far do I live from a grocery store, the gym, the city, places to eat at, and things like that. Because for me, like, I wanted to be able to not drive 30 minutes or an hour to the nearest grocery store or gym, or even to good places to eat at, or to the airport, because those are important factors, you know, to me. And one of the biggest things was also, like, could I really see myself living here? Really, really ask yourself that question, and really please be honest with yourself, because if you cannot see yourself living in this place, there's no point of, you know, putting that much money down and investing in so much and being responsible for something like that in a place that you're just not feeling or, you know, think you're gonna be happy in. It's almost like, honestly, it really is like being in a relationship with someone. After this whole pros and cons list process, this really helps me get an idea of what I'm going to do next, whether it be searching for more apartments or sealing the deal and making that grand decision. So that is why I tell you that it's important for you to pick your top 3 priorities, because it's going to help you a lot realistically on, you know, what you're going to choose at the end of the day. So that is actually all the advice that I have to give for you guys with the apartment hunt, I guess, guide. For those who are planning to live alone for the first time. I also want to remind you to don't forget to have fun in this process and really look through the models that they show you, and try to imagine yourself living in it, so that you can see if this is gonna be, you know, a good thing for you, or if it's just not gonna work out for you. I seriously cannot believe my time is up with living alone. It literally still feels like it was yesterday that I was 24 and I moved in all by myself. Whew, I had such an amazing experience, and I'm literally grateful for it all. Sorry, I did not mean to cry in this. I don't know why. I'm just so emotional right now, and I act like this is gonna be like my last time of like living alone, but I know that it's not going to. I think what makes me feel bittersweet is that this was my very first apartment to myself, and that I can't believe I literally made this all come to life, and that now it's coming to an end is all. For those of you who are on the journey of getting your own place for the first time, I seriously wish you nothing but the best of luck, and to have fun with every single moment, and just, you know, be in the moment, I guess, because it is an exciting time. It is an exciting process, and it's just so worth it. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching me throughout this whole time, and that it's gonna be a different scenery the next time you see me, and I guess after this video. It's gonna be fun for sure. I hope that this was helpful, and please feel free to leave in the comments below if you are on your journey of getting your first ever apartment, and if I missed anything, feel free to leave it down in the comments below to make sure that, you know, everyone gets to know and have a piece of advice of what I missed. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I truly, truly appreciate it. Wherever you are in the world, I hope that you are safe and healthy and well, staying positive, staying brave as well. And until next time, take care, guys. Bye.